Hello and welcome to Running the Table, the podcast where we run through everything on the table in the world of sports. And we're back with some more NBA content, not really our forte, but the trade deadline has come and gone, and some very big pieces were moved. Some mega deals went down. And so we're going to recap the major things that happened over the NBA trade deadline. So, Tim, are you ready to go?
Let's run it.
There were three major trades. We're going to break down each one of them, starting with the trade that sent Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks.
On the move again.
The Brooklyn Nets sent Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris to the Mavericks for Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, a 2029 first, and two late second-round picks. So this really started the demolition of Brooklyn's big three. Kyrie Irving wanted a trade, and boom, he was flipped to the Mavericks. And now the Mavericks pair Luka Doncic with Kyrie Irving, and that's a really nasty 1-2 at the guard position.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, obviously, you talk about the ball handling of Kyrie combined with the ball handling of Luka Doncic. You have two of the best ball handlers in the league right there. And in terms of scoring, you've got guys that can make buckets on their own pretty much whenever you want them to. So playing them together is obviously going to be, it's an experiment of its own and see how they really mesh with each other. But putting each one out there by themselves with different lineups is going to be really good for them as well. So that definitely brings an entirely different level to that backcourt. That's going to be really interesting and fun to watch.
They needed to start a pair with Luka Doncic, and now they did in Kyrie Irving.
Got one.
The only question is how far can that take him in the Western Conference, and will Kyrie Irving sign an extension, because he is projected to be a free agent. So if he walks, that could be a big deal. But the next big trade that went down was a three-team deal between the Los Angeles Lakers, Utah Jazz, and Minnesota Timberwolves, where the Lakers sent Russell Westbrook, Juan Toscano Anderson, and a first-round pick to the Utah Jazz, and the Minnesota Timberwolves sent D'Angelo Russell to the Lakers.
These three-team deals always mess with my head.
From Utah to Minnesota, and then Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt was sent from Utah to the Lakers. You got all that? It's gonna be much easier written out, like at the bottom of the screen, so we'll be sure to have that. But the big piece moved. Russell Westbrook finds himself on his fifth team in as many years, and after that fight with Darvin Ham post OKC game, it only makes sense that he was dealt, but you kind of got to feel bad for the guy. He signed the richest extension in NBA history in 2017, and then he goes
for 5 years and then got traded to 5 teams in each one of those years. Yeah, it's
and
it's a pretty wild story.
The Jazz may still buy out his contract, but the Lakers, they get new blood at the point guard. Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt provide some pretty great depth that they hadn't had, and they're trying to make the jump from 13th place up into the playoff picture while LeBron and AD are still together. But a big trade nonetheless. And the final bombshell at 1 a.m, the night before the deadline, Kevin Durant, the biggest domino to fall, got traded to the Phoenix Suns. Durant and TJ Warren were sent to Phoenix, and in return, Brooklyn got Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, 4 first-round picks, and a 2028 pick swap. And then the Nets went and flipped Jay Crowder for 5 seconds to Milwaukee. But yeah, and we'll talk about that later. But my God, what a trade. What a trade for Phoenix to do. We talked about this over the summer. We made a video about Kevin Durant potential trade destinations, and we noticed the Phoenix Suns were one of the major players involved. And now KD actually goes out west to Phoenix. And the crazy part about it, their 3 best players stay intact. You don't give up Chris Paul. I
really thought they were going to have to give up DeAndre Ayton.
You don't give up DeAndre Ayton.
That's the big piece that I expected in a deal like this. But I mean, I guess when you give up 4 first-round picks, that helps. So I mean, they're definitely dishing out a lot to try to enter that win now phase, because they've had some great seasons over these past couple of years, but haven't just been able to put it over the edge. And Kevin Durant, I mean, you talk about a guy who's a difference maker on literally every team that he's
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And with
The
him,
fourth
being
super team that Kevin Durant has been on in his career, he just keeps going to these stacked franchises.
I can't believe he keeps getting traded. The fact that you keep having blockbuster trades like this, I mean, it's not often that teams are able to agree on such high prices for, marquee guys like this, but here we are. We'll see what the Phoenix Suns look like, but I'm excited to see him in a Suns uniform and what he can do with those guys, because that has the potential to be a very lethal offensive team.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to just the overall width of the Western Conference, the moves that they made this trade deadline, because
Everybody was
Dallas,
trying to bolster up.
yeah, Dallas gets Kyrie to pair with Luka. Phoenix adds Kevin Durant without losing anything. The Lakers try to make a major push, getting D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. In the Westbrook deal, they added Mo Bamba and traded Patrick Beverley to Orlando. And they got Devon Reed back in the Thomas Bryant deal. So they were really active. And another low key player that didn't really do much in terms of like big deals, but they definitely made a lot of moves, was the other LA team, the Clippers. They acquired Eric Gordon from the Rockets, Mason Plumlee from the Hornets, and Bones Highland from the Nuggets. So
they definitely got some scoring to add to that team.
Mm-hmm. The Clippers are definitely trying to add while they still have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So
they got to try to make some type of push, because they have been relatively quiet as of lately. So they gotta switch something up. And you talk about adding that scoring, that's really going to help them on the offensive end. So we'll see if those are the pieces that we're missing in that picture.
100%. And for those four franchises in particular, they're trying to win a championship. The Phoenix Suns, Dallas Mavericks, and LA Clippers are at 4, 5, and 6 in the Western Conference. So they're going to try to make that push. I mean, Chris Paul's championship window swings back wide open, which is crazy to say that he's probably going to get another shot at a ring. And
he very well might.
I really hope he does. And the Lakers, all the way down at 13th, they're just trying to make the play-in game. But the Western Conference is very, very, very competitive.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. Grizzlies, you still comfortable?
Yeah. The Grizzlies, the Kings, they're right above those three teams, and they're probably shaking in their boots.
Yeah. You talk about a team that didn't really make too much in terms
pretty
of
at the
moves,
one seed, but
yeah,
nobody is comfortable in the Western Conference. And all the way across the country, the Brooklyn Nets have blown it up again.
And they got a lot to show for it, though. I mean, obviously, yes, that big three failed, but boy, did they have some rebuild stuff to show for it. But sorry, Ben Simmons, you kind of just got to run the show on your own now.
Yeah, Ben Simmons is the guy
left all alone
in Brooklyn, but hey, they managed to beat the Chicago Bulls. Woohoo!
Talk about another sort of failed big three.
Yeah, the Bulls are another mess altogether. But we're talking about the Nets, where and stay with me now. Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. That was the big three, and I'm gonna run through the return. The entire return that big three netted. It netted Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, McCall Bridges, Cam Johnson, 7 first-round picks, and 8 second-round picks.
Yeah,
that's insane.
It's going to be interesting to see
those three guys.
No kidding.
But that championship window, at least with that core, slam shut. It's over. Another failed big three in the books, which you thought, hey, maybe this one was going to work this time. You have to admire the Nets for trying to go all in, but they knew it wasn't going to work with this core. When Kyrie wanted out and KD, he's been clamoring for trades like the last season and a half or so.
I think something fair to point out, though, is also the fact that so many of those guys during the time that big three, truly all three of them were together. They dealt with a lot of injuries and personal things. Those three together only played 16 games together. with all three of them healthy, 16 games. They didn't really get much of a chance to do a whole lot, all three of them together. So, still definitely a massive failure. It'll be interesting to see what they do with those picks.
Can you call it a failure? Yes, you can. No,
absolutely.
ring.
No, absolutely.
And that's
but
really what you're going for at the end of the day. We'll see what
it'll be interesting to see what they do with the picks, whether or not they try to go and sort of do the long rebuild and see what they can do in the draft, or if they start trying to dish some more of those picks out in the coming years during the trade deadline in the offseason to try to build something else there.
Because they definitely have the capital. And speaking of picks, my God, are they gonna place the Stepien rule on second round picks? Why are these teams throwing
this was the trade deadline of 5 second round picks. The amount of times I saw a trade go through where it's like, oh, and they gave up 5 second round picks. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know that was possible.
I didn't either. I didn't know
I've never seen it before.
No,
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, apparently these GMs got the thinking that, hey, we have these second round picks. Do you want just them?
Toss them?
One,
I can't tell if they're valuable or not.
I can't either. So do these second round picks mean something, or do they mean nothing?
Or is it just capital to toss around?
Yeah, they're just tossing it around as if the
I have never seen so many of one.
Confusing.
I have never seen so many of one type of pick, one round pick, be packaged together in one deal. Like you don't see like 5 third round picks, or of course, 4 first round picks is about the closest that you can get to that.
Tim, if only the NBA draft had a third round,
that would help. That would.
Yeah,
it shows you how much I've watched the NBA draft.
That's all right. Well, we don't know whose pick is whose.
Yeah, at this point, nobody knows at this point. I'd rather hear about the highlights afterward, but.
When you're trading for picks that don't come up until the end of the decade, that's honestly kind of wild. But another very, very exciting trade deadline is in the books, and that's pretty much all we got. We'll see how these moves affect these teams and how the dust will settle once the playoffs come around. And who knows, one of these moves may lead to an NBA title. But if you want more from us, we got lots of football stuff. Tim, you're tackling college basketball. March is almost here, so we're going to be doing more of that. And let us know what else you want to see. If you want to see it, we'll probably cover it. If you want more from us, like and subscribe. And until next time, we out.
Bro, literally no one cares about the NBA draft.